Hello and welcome to the show. We started this week's FailRace episode with the Orange Dog 21 on Forza Horizon 3, racing at pretty damn high speeds through the outback when the car ahead of him enters the water a little bit wrong, stops dead, amazingly gets fired up in the air just enough for our car to go underneath. That was a very, very close call indeed. Hazard's game tag on Horizon 3 is messing around with a Porsche. He's too busy looking at the driver tiles going past and just bumps into a Lamborghini that is giving a helping hand to a Transit. Transit does not seem, well, massively phased by all this. Neither does the Lamborghini, having the big Ford van on the front of it. It just, deposits it when it gets to a corner and then continues on his merry way. Now to the Mill sort of cross-country circuit. This one a notoriously challenging off-road track. Also, I have no idea what car my driver tire is driving. That's certainly not a paint job that I have. But there we go. As we head across the jump, player manages to land on top of another vehicle, proceeds to do a massive wheelie before being deposited off the course. I've never seen, we've seen cars landing on top of each other plenty, but never with that particular outcome. Maxilo Gaming on Horizon 3 is trying to get a bonus board with the Gurkha. The problem is it's now being caught. Apparently this is the great car trap of Australia. The giant Gurkha, despite all of its size and weight, has been beaten by a trailer. The trailer, I don't know if it was a bit of lag or quite what it was, trailer phased itself back into the garage, I guess where it's supposed to be, and has now pinned one of the heaviest cars. It's just completely Austin Powers, and it is not going to be getting out of there anytime soon. On to next, Nuclear Donuts, still on Horizon 3, doing one of the bucket list events, trying to get to the destination as fast as possible. Doesn't notice the huge mound of dirt hidden behind some bushes, not that it particularly phases the muscle car. Perfect barrel roll to continue pointing in exactly the direction he intended to. Zal96 on GTA 5 has just left his garage to find the AI are finding new and interesting ways of parking their Futos. I mean, it does save some space. I'm not sure the car on the bottom is going to be in the greatest condition after this parking method, but there we go. Roshake 11 has got some AIs in Far Cry 4 using a new parking technique. I mean, admittedly, it does make it easier to work on the underside of the car. I'm not quite sure how they got it on there or how on earth they're going to get it off. It also looked like they were undoing the wheels in thin air, but never mind about that. Sky Bella on Player Unknown's Battlegrounds heard a car coming, quickly managed to duck down. The driver of the car never noticed or didn't care about the player being there, was carrying too much speed, couldn't stop, and has launched it off into the scenery. Yeah, not the greatest piece of driving, but there we go. Regal 7 on the crew is being chased by the police when, well, they've got a new tactic, really. I mean, that's how you deal with a hypercar. I think he was trying to destroy the police cars by slamming on the brakes and have them, wreck themselves on the back of his vehicle. They had other ideas, as that's a big that is a huge flight. That is a big Coinseg space program right there. Sticking with the crew, now we have seen this car park before doing peculiar things where it doesn't spawn the vehicles in quite in time as you drive past. Normally they just kind of bumble their way out from underneath the ground. However, this time they are flying through the air, and one of them actually pops out from underneath the ground to launch the player car off onto the beach. I've never come across this car park on the crew. I've been a fair bit of the crew. I haven't played for a while, but I have played a fair bit of it and never remember this particular car park. But yeah, apparently it has all sorts of issues with vehicles popping in and out. There's another one that's come up and going to do a fairly competent flip and land back on its wheels. Don't leave your car here, I think, is the general consensus. Just don't bother. Not the only one having interesting spawning in issues. Bull Pliskin on Mafia 3 is heading to sort of an objective when none of the trees are spawning around. He's not sure if it's an open field or something you can drive through. Goes to, take a shortcut and hits the good old invisible tree. Still not loaded in, and then finally everything cool appears. That's when you know your car's a bit too fast, where the game is struggling to load around it. Still more spawning in shenanigans. Lightning 747 on Project Cars just for disqualifying when the game decides to put two vehicles on the same grid spot, and funnily enough, that doesn't quite work. his car getting launched across. Does come back on its wheels. I don't know if the other vehicle actually landed on his wheels or not. To add insult to injury, he gets a drive-through penalty, although your race is pretty much done for at that point. Does a really good job, actually, to get out of the way of all of the other cars. Raider SSG on Need for Speed and Most Wanted has spotted a semi-truck doing, well, some rather... That's not how you're supposed to drive a semi-truck. That is, I don't know if somebody has put some oil on those rear wheels, because that is all manners of wiggly. I am, not going to hire that delivery company, because I would not trust the condition of any of the goods in the back of those containers, but there we go. You got it all under control. You didn't end up having too big a crash. And finally, we have that Mudkip on Wreckfest racing around on the lawnmowers. Gets things a little bit too wrong. It's just too much speed. He's wiggling and wiggling when an eye car goes for a lawnmower. Goes for a flight across the curb. Trying to, I think, avoid the player that was getting into issues. Ends up across, as you can see, the huge kind of mounds on the inside. As we're busy fighting for control, it gets so close in slow motion. It is just millimeters to spare. Otherwise, you would have ended up with a lawnmower in the face. That is, pretty damn spectacular near miss. Certainly one of the most spectacular that we have seen on this series. That, though, is going to be it for this episode. As ever, if you have clips you would like to submit, you can via our forums. There'll be a link in the description. At the very top of the page is the FailRace clip submission section, and in there you can find all of the rules and how to submit them. But that is going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.